I get a thick cut of your prime rib? Can I get a thick one? Like off of that one? Is that cool? Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Hey everyone, I'm at The Buffet at Wynn Las Vegas. Currently they're doing everything only online as far as reservations go, but even if you have a reservation, expect to wait a little while because everyone in line had a reservation. We waited about a total of 15 to 20 minutes for a Thursday evening reservation, and here are the prices and hours. If you want to take a closer look, feel free to pause the screen. The prices are different on weekdays and weekends, and for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm a Las Vegas native, so I have my favorite buffets. All of the Station Casino buffets, which are not open any longer, are some of the locals' favorites, as well as the M Hotel off to the side in South Las Vegas, and the Sterling Brunch, which was a one-day event at the Bally's Steakhouse. But my favorite buffet has always been the Wynn Hotel. I love the Wynn for their consistency. Coming back to the Wynn, it's been quite a long time. They were open a couple times and closed again during this pandemic. They had a different format, like servers bringing the food to your tables, but people didn't like that very much. So when a lot of the restrictions were lifted in Vegas, they went back to a full self-serve mode. So I love the Wynn Buffet. They have some new things, but the quality isn't quite what I remember it to be, because the Wynn was always superb. But anyone who's been in Vegas regularly will remember how good the quality was. Nothing is the same anymore. And it's the same everywhere. Everywhere I go, the prices are higher than what it was, and it's hard to find the kind of quality that we were used to. At the seafood section on this Thursday evening, they were missing the crab claws. Normally they have these crab claws here, but it wasn't here. I felt a little bit gypped. Oh well, moving on. So the shrimp at the Wynn are pretty decent size. They're pretty big. They're a little larger than the ones I had at the Bellagio last week. But Bellagio is only operating 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. for brunch only. Currently, the Wynn is serving crab legs, both chilled and hot. This is the chilled section. And here's what I need to tell you about these. These are going to be much larger than the hot ones, and they are split in half, so they're easier to eat. The hot ones are going to be a lot smaller, as you'll see a little bit later. Here's their carving station, and they also have their prime rib. And I don't know about other people, but I just can't get a thin slice of prime rib because those are more for sandwiches. I need to get the thick cuts. Last week at the Bellagio, I did have a pretty disappointing experience with their prime rib. It wasn't quite that good. This place, my cut was a little bit more rare than I would like it to be, but at least they have au jus. They didn't have au jus at Bellagio last week. They had some weird fancy sauces. Didn't quite do it for me. I need to have the au jus with my prime rib. I'm not doing a full walk around in the beginning. I'm gonna do bits and pieces. But here's the first round. So they did have salads and some appetizers, but I went straight for the things that I wanted because this is gonna be about $80 with tax and tip per person. This is some kind of a seafood boil or bouillabaisse. Had crab and a couple of clams and shrimp. It was pretty good. I got some tri-tip steak, a little piece of beef brisket, but mainly it was about the prime rib because the prime rib, Wynn Hotel is one of the few buffets that can pull off a decent prime rib as a buffet. And if you've tried buffets in Vegas, the prime rib, it really isn't very good at buffets. You gotta go to a steakhouse. But the Wynn Hotel, the prime rib is really good. It's just that mine was slightly bit too rare in the middle, but that's okay. I think I can handle it. Just cover it with the au jus and keep on moving. Have you ever had too much food, or there were so many good things that you couldn't really enjoy one thing? Well, anyway, the tri-tip and the beef brisket kind of got lost because of the prime rib. The prime rib was good, and they had the creamy horseradish. Unlike Bellagio last week, they didn't have the creamy horseradish. I like creamy horseradish with my prime rib. And the au jus. I had to go and get a separate little bowl of the au jus. To be honest, I've had better prime rib at steakhouses, but for being a buffet, this was really close to steakhouse quality. The prime rib was tender, and that's the main thing. Sometimes if you get a really bad cut of prime rib, it can be tough, and that's not prime rib to me. But this prime rib was tender, and it had a good crust on it, had good seasoning, and it was succulent and juicy with the au jus. And then if you like horseradish, you can add horseradish. This was really worth it to me. So for this cut of prime rib, and I can get another one if I want, with the all-you-can-eat factor and the variety, this buffet was already worth the price for me. But it is a lot more expensive than what it used to be at $50. So you have to determine if this is worth it for you, because it is pretty pricey. But this is the Las Vegas buffet experience, only it costs more now, but you have to take all things into consideration. The oysters were so-so, it wasn't my favorite. The shrimp was really good. They were plump and they were chilled. They had a decent cocktail sauce. The lasagna looked pretty good, especially that lasagna Florentine. Looked really good, but I only have one stomach, and that prime rib was a pretty hefty piece of prime rib. So I decided to get a little bit of the steamed cod on my second round, and here's the warm or hot version of the crab legs. The crab legs have been sitting out for a while, and I told you they were smaller at the beginning of the video, and the video does make them look a little larger, but they're pretty small. It's also worth mentioning that the pizza looked really good, and I know you don't pay $80 to go eat pizza, but it's okay. You should eat what you're in the mood for, because that's why they have phrases like it hit the spot. Because when you eat something that you're in the mood for, that's when it tastes the best. Plus, this is mushroom pizza with truffle oil, so it sounds fancy. It qualifies as something you could try at an $80 buffet. And $80, I'm meaning with tax and tip, all included. So the steamed cod wasn't very moist at all. In fact, it was sitting under the heat lamp for a while and it had dried out quite a bit. So you can see for yourself. At buffets, it's important that you get the items right when it comes out, because it does make a difference. Here are their beef ribs. A lot of beef ribs aren't that good compared to some of the places that can do a really good job of producing barbecue beef ribs. Their mac and cheese looked interesting, and they had some other items as usual. And thing about Wynn Hotel is usually the quality is not that bad. It's pretty good. Wynn is known to be one of the better quality hotel buffets. The only section of the buffet that I really did not find appealing to me was the Asian section, because the noodles that you just saw were the drunken noodles, and they called that the pineapple fried rice. And I have had numerous versions of drunken noodles and pineapple fried rice, but I have never seen them look like this. It was to the point where I didn't even want to try it. And I'm not afraid to try things, but these did not look appealing at all. Even the shumai, very unappealing. They had a taco station with 3 choices: carne asada, chicken machaca, and impossible beef. I knew this was gonna be good because it's made to order, so you're gonna get a fresh taco. I ordered the carne asada and the chicken machaca, and they looked so appealing I had to film them while I was walking to my table. But before I started on the tacos, I decided to stop by one more section. This is their Southern Skillet section. This is where they have your basic foods, and by that I mean it's not really exotic. You have your mac and cheese, your fingerling potatoes that are loaded, and your sweet potatoes, I guess, charred sweet potatoes. The thing is, I can probably find better versions of these elsewhere, like Fridays or any other place that I eat at. Usually these are very common items, so it's up to you if you want to try it. I decided to just have a taste of the mac and cheese and just a couple potatoes to go with my beef ribs and my tacos. The mac and cheese and the potatoes were pretty standard. Unless you're really in the mood, they are what you would expect them to be. Okay, buffet potatoes, buffet mac and cheese. The beef ribs were just average. For the best beef ribs in Vegas, check out my playlist for Rolling Smoke Barbecue. The tacos were good, and I love the fact that they were made to order, because the experience of the freshly made tacos is really, really good. And if you're a big eater, you can repeat everything you just had, or go back for the items you really like. By the time I finished the tacos, I was pretty full. I can't quite do 5 to 8 plates anymore. I'm just more like a 3 or 4 plate guy now. But the desserts at the Wynn are really, really good. They have this ice cream carousel, which is kind of a new addition that I haven't seen before. And their usual assortment of delightful cakes. They're usually pretty small, just about a bite or 2. And then there was this thing, this tower at the base that had like gummy bears and M&Ms. Guess you really gotta be in the mood for those, because there are so many better desserts. The desserts come in small portions, so you can try a variety. The chocolate mousse is probably one of my most favorite desserts here, but they have just about everything for your liking. They do have a crepe station, and I can't remember if they had one before, but I decided to get a crepe. The crepes are made to order as well. They have the batter here and they make the crepe right in front of you. I went with the strawberry and whipped cream. No matter how full you are, you always have room for dessert. That means even if you think you can't eat, try a bite or 2 of the dessert. The crepe is actually really good. These are one of the items that are really hard to mess up. But here is my round of desserts. I'm only gonna do 1 round. But I didn't finish everything, I'll be honest, but I did try a bite of everything. If you go to an average buffet in Las Vegas, the desserts can be pretty bad. However, the premium hotels, the Big Four, by the Big Four I mean the Cosmopolitan, Caesars Palace, Bellagio, and the Wynn, usually the desserts are pretty good. The Wynn is probably my most favorite place for desserts. One of the byproducts of going to a lot of buffets can mean that you can gain weight because you tend to overeat. Unless you're a regular buffet eater or you eat a lot regularly. I'm a little bit of both. a regular at buffets, and I regularly eat a lot. And going to a buffet doesn't mean you have to overeat. You can be selective and you can control your portions. It just means that you have a wide variety of selections. The Wynn Hotel has many fine restaurants and incredible places. This is the Up Parasol, Down Parasol. This is a lounge type atmosphere where you have indoor and outdoor dining. And at night they do have some kind of a show, and I think it's at the top of the hour for each hour, but I'm not quite sure, so you might want to ask. And that's gonna wrap it up at the Wynn Hotel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.